welcome back to another episode of Jump Scare. I'm Betty B. Detley,
And I'm Shad Youngblood.
and we are going to be continuing our Twisted Love Month with this week's pick, Valentine from 2001.
He loves me.
Spend this Valentine's Day
He loves me not.
with someone you love,
He loves me.
someone you trust,
He loves me not.
and someone you know
He loves me.
won't try to kill you.
Will you dance with me? Dance with me? Dance with me? Dance.
Remember the kid everybody ignored on Valentine's Day?
Loser.
Well, he remembers you.
God, we were so horrible to that kid.
What do you think happened to him?
Stay away from me.
Valentine.
So, that one of the trivia things about this film is that the narration of the trailer is one of the few that's narrated by a woman.
Yeah, this was a big, there's hardly any male characters in this movie, especially any decent.
That's true.
Most of the guys in this are terrible, terrible human beings.
Yeah, you would have thought that this was directed by a woman,
Yeah.
the way that the men are portrayed in the film.
Yeah, because they are not put in a positive light at all.
No, they're not. They're all douchebags, with the exception of David Boreanaz, aka Angel, aka my lover. Yeah, it's during it's 2001, so Angel, Buffy, like all that shit's still going on, and Roswell is still going on, which the star of the film, so you thought, is Katherine Heigl.
Yes.
And Shad pointed out something very, well, obvious to the time. This is the second time I've actually seen the film. I saw this film about 15 years too late. I did not see it when it first came out. I thought it looked terrible, and I would not watch it. And then 15 years later, I changed my mind and saw it. I was like, okay. It was okay. And then just saw it again, and I was like, okay, this is pretty decent. It's a pretty decent film.
It kind of got lost in the shuffle when it first came out because there were a lot of... I remember everyone that I went to see it when it came out, and I thought it was decent. I liked it. But there seemed to be the biggest criticism of it was, everyone's pretty. I'm tired of horror movies where everyone is such pretty people. Why can't we have gross, nasty people in the horror movies? And then Rob Zombie came along and filled up that void by putting everyone that looked like they just slept in a pig pen all night long in every one of his movies.
Yeah, well, he's not attractive at all, so I don't think that he can choose attractive people to be in his films because everyone is ugly. No offense to all of you in films. But I understand, you have to get paid, so you gotta do something. But anyways, back to Valentine. Yeah, it's pretty good. I was watching it and I kept thinking, is Happy Death Day kind of like Valentine in the way of the mask? Like,
Yeah.
it's very reminiscent to Happy Death Day. There's some similarities. I like both masks. I think they're both awesome. It's just so difficult to like get the mask. You sometimes it's chosen and it's terrible. And really, if the mask isn't good, it kind of ruins the whole movie because it's just like you can't stop looking at it.
Yeah, in order to have a good slasher, they've got to have a good mask.
Yeah, thanks Halloween.
Yeah.
That's definitely where it stems from. It's the whole Halloween thing.
And, it's... This movie, I think now that it's kind of starting to get some popularity again, maybe someplace will pick it up and mass produce the mask. Because I've wanted to do this costume before, but that mask is impossible to find.
Yeah, I looked for it last year No, like actually a couple of years when I first saw the movie, I was like, man, I would love to own this mask, and I could not find it at all. It's very hard to find, but I would even be happy. It doesn't have to be the full mask. I would have been happy with the like Don Post ish
Yeah,
kind of
just the front of the mask.
Collegeville, just the front of the mask of it. That would have been pretty dope.
Well, the thing that's so disturbing about it is it has like it's a creepy little cherub angel face, but it's so blank and kind of emotionless that when you see the person come around the corner in that mask, it gives you that instant like, oh shit, this can't be good when you see it.
Yeah. Well, what Shad pointed out was that this kind of stole the formula for Scream.
Yeah, you start off and spoiler alert, we're going to talk some spoilers on here, but since the movie's 18 years old, if you haven't seen it by now, our spoilers probably just watch the movie and then come back for it and we'll spoil it for you some more.
Yeah, or just hear this, episode and then go watch the movie. I mean, it doesn't really matter anyways. It's been 17 years, like Chad said. So.
18.
Oh, 18 years.
Yeah, this came out in 2001.
It's been about a minute, as they say in the streets.
So it kind of takes the Scream formula of you get introduced right away to Katherine Heigl, who's on a terrible blind date.
Really terrible. I mean, the guy's talking in third person right then and there, and then when he finds out he's not going to get any, he makes her pay for her meal. It's just really despicable.
Yeah, so you think kind of, at the time she was very popular on Roswell, and you kind of assume she's going to be the main one, but like Drew Barrymore in Scream, she is off pretty early into the movie, maybe 5 minutes in.
Yeah, she sure is. Which obviously is a homage to Psycho. But yeah, just she's off. She's killed, and you're like, oh shit. She's, she didn't use her alien powers to fucking live through this one. Yeah. She did.
Well, the basic plot of Valentine is that in 7th or 8th grade, there is a Valentine's Day dance, and there's a very nerdy, very unattractive boy named Jeremy Melton who goes up and asks each of the main characters in the movie to dance. They all, to varying degrees, say no. For the most part, they all say something terrible like, I'd rather be boiled alive, ew, you're disgusting, that sort of thing. The only one that doesn't is Kate, played by Marley Shelton, who just says, oh, not right now, maybe later. And 13 years later, they start to be murdered off.
Yeah, I love when the film has, like, the past, when it's a bunch of kids doing some, fucked up kid shit, because I feel like a lot of the movies from the past have been like that, like Prom Night.
Prom Night, even like The Burning.
Yeah, The Burning.
Like, I don't know how they thought that was going to end. Let's just pour gas on the guy and see how that goes.
Yeah, well, first of all, if you hadn't heard that episode of ours, it's one of our first episodes where we talk about The Burning. I believe it's called Why Is She Going in the Fridge?
Yeah.
Which I titled it Why That Bitch Going in the Fridge, but we had to change the title to that. Why was he sleeping with all those fucking cans in the side of the bed? I mean, when you watch the scene, you're like, he literally was asking for it. I mean, the cans of gasoline are literally adjacent to the bed. There's not even a space from the bed to the shelf that he has full of all these fucking cans.
Safety regulations weren't in very big back then.
I mean, it was just like when what's his face, Rob Lowe walks into Nick Offerman's Ron's like his work area, and there's like a rag like in the fucking gasoline can.
Yeah, there's like 15 that things plugged into one outlet.
Yeah, it's just like code violations everywhere. It's just like that in the fucking Burning. But anyways, so so yeah, in Valentine, it's a pretty
straightforward revenge story.
Yeah, totally, and we see that as each character, now has grown up and they're all going through their own different things, and let's talk about the cast that was chosen, because I feel like that's a very interesting cast. We have David Boreanaz, which we mentioned before. Angel.
And
Angel's in here.
I think one of my favorite lines in the movie is when they talk about his character, and the girl says, "Well, he's no angel."
Well, he
Dum
is.
dum.
Yeah. I mean,
You hear the little in the background.
yeah, it was like, yeah, whoever wrote that line, get out of here. You're fired. It's just.
I gotta wonder if that line was in there, because it's something you would just say, like,
Yeah.
well, he's no angel, but he's not a monster either, you know. But then you put David Boreanaz in, you just leave it and go, that's great.
Yeah. So you have that. We have, as we said, Kate is played by
Marley Shelton.
Marley Shelton from
Grindhouse, the Grindhouse segment, Planet Terror, Scream 4, a lot of different things she's been in.
She was a busy lady. She was in a lot of things. She was in there. And also, Denise Richards. I mean, boobs.
The early 2000s was the time for Denise Richards. This was after Starship Troopers. I believe this was after Wild Things.
Yes, it's definitely after Wild Things. Wild Things came out in 1999. I'm pretty sure it came out in 99.
This was the time of Denise Richards.
And I have to say, when you see Denise Richards in the film, you already know what you're going to get because she's playing Denise Richards.
Yeah.
It's the same character she's played in every other film, which is an over-sexualized woman. Or maybe just a woman that knows what she wants. She's all about the D, and she's not shy to, like, let everyone know that that's what her MO is.
Yeah.
And she has boobs. I mean, and I feel like she's thinner in this movie than she was in the other movies. Because I feel
she
like,
is stick thin in this movie.
yeah, she had more body in the other films, but not in a bad way. She was just, fuller. I like the look in Starship Troopers and in Wild Things. Probably Wild Things is her best.
Yeah, she's so thin that it looks like her collarbone is going to just come through the skin.
Yeah, and, typical fashion, she a bitch. You want her to die off the bat. Like, I'm like, it's not because it's Denise Richards, it's just like, she's just terrible.
Yeah.
She's just such a terrible friend, and she's, like, flirting with all the guys. It's out of control. So, you have her. And there's some other characters in there too, that show up, that you've seen in other movies. Well, I'm gonna say maybe like C actors.
Yeah, Jessica Capshaw plays
Yes.
Dorothy in it, and of course she's the stepdaughter of Steven Spielberg.
Mm-hmm. And Kate Capshaw's daughter, who's
Yeah.
from Temple of Doom.
Pretty sure that's where they met.
Yeah, totally.
And then who's the other one?
I think that's it. I mean,
Those are the ones that you know.
yeah, the ones that you know. There's a ton of other people in the movie. Jessica Caulfield.
Yeah, she's the one that plays Lily, right?
Yeah, I believe so, yes. She's in it as well. Daniel Cosgrove, which he's been in a lot of things. He was in like Guiding Light and Days of Our Lives, but he was also in Beverly Hills 90210 as well. And, it's one of those guys where you see him, he's just like the pretty boy guy. Like, you're like, oh, I know that guy, He also was the fucking asshole in You. He's the boyfriend of the next door neighbor.
Oh.
Yeah, he obviously, he's older gentleman. But yeah, that's him, totally. And you hate him in that one too. So he's just one of those guys that you're like, oh man, I hate that guy. I feel like he wanted to rape, what's her face, Kelly. I feel like that's one of the guys that went after her in 90210, because it was like the actual 90210, not the remake. I stand corrected. So yeah, so you have those people there, and it makes for it's a good like 2000. It feels very 90s because the decade doesn't really gain its identity until like midway. So 2001, it still feels like 99.
Yeah. I love the fact that now when you look at it, everyone is carrying a flip phone. And not just that, flip phones with antennas.
Yeah, and
They stop and actually pull the antenna out on a couple of them, and the police officer that has the phone that looks like it's roughly the size of a walkie-talkie, an old '70s walkie-talkie, which is probably about right that the cops at that point would, if they had a cell phone, it would be a brick.
oh yeah, definitely. And it is funny to watch it because it's like, wow. I mean, just in a short amount of time, within like, let's round it off to 20 years, the evolution of the phone is, you can see that, in film, like how it's gone from that to where it is now.
And you can even see there's a point in the movie where the character now they show her using her cell phone, and then later when she's running, she actually stops and tries to pick up a landline and call. When she clearly had a cell phone on her, she could have just called.
Yeah, I guess that wasn't the first thought in her head.
Yeah. I think it's kind of one of those things like when they were writing it, they still kind of forgot about the phones, because it was such a trope for all the years of run and find the phone. Oh, the phone line's been cut.
Yeah. So, my favorite thing about the film, besides the mask, would have to be the amazing Valentine's Day cards that the girls receive that are going to let them know that, some shit's about to go down.
My favorite was the roses are red, violets are blue. They'll need dental records to identify you.
Yeah, please, somebody, make these cards. They're beautiful. They're very Victorian looking. So they're classic.
That's what I gotta say. Is not only is this guy a very skilled killer, he's a very good artist.
Yeah, for real, he needs to fucking get, one of the most difficult jobs is, to get into, American greetings. To get into a greeting card company, it's not, the easiest thing.
Yeah, he needs to do on that and open his own little Etsy shop where he sells the Valentine cards customized for people you hate.
Boom. I'm there buying that motherfucker. I have an Etsy account. I'm not going to tell you how much money I've spent on there. It is a dangerous place, and I would totally buy those cards. Because they're fantastical.
Yeah, the movie also has a little bit of the I Know What You Did Last Summer vibe to it, too.
Oh, yeah. Well, trivia time. One of the characters is supposed to be the character that was actually played by Denise Richards, is supposed to be played by Jennifer Love Hewitt. Yeah. So I feel like they were we need someone with huge tits in this role.
And we need someone that could pull off, remind you that, hey, I was in another slasher movie.
Yeah, but they went with, obviously Denise Richards. So I think the movie, you couldn't have Jennifer Love Hewitt that time because I think that she was actually bigger than all the people in the movie.
Yeah, it wouldn't have gone over that well because when you're the third or fourth star of the movie, you couldn't have her in it. She would have had to been the main person.
Yeah, for real. She was not going to be a fourth wheel.
Yeah, but like I said, it does a good job of kind of mixing the vibe of Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer because there's a bit of a mystery as to who the killer is. I mean, it's Jeremy Melton coming back to do it, but who is he? Is he someone in their lives? Is it someone they know? They kind of tease that out through the movie. And then you've got the standard slasher thing going on. And I felt they did a good job of mixing both of them because in Scream, it's the same kind of thing. You don't know why they're doing it until the very end.
Yeah.
As far as you know, it's just a crazed slasher coming after her. You don't find out until the end that it's a revenge plot on their part. This, right off the bat, it's a revenge plot, but you're just not sure who's doing it. So it's kind of like I said, the I Know What You Did Last Summer kind of thing. And I always like that.
Yeah, I like that too. It's definitely one of those where, like I said, I did hate it, but it grew on me like a fungus. And
you didn't actually see it. You just saw. That was a lot of people just saw the previews for it or the trailer for it or the poster and just went, ugh, this thing.
Yeah. After it's one of those few movies that it's holiday themed, but it works because there's a ton of holiday movies, Tales of Halloween, that I hate, and they just don't work. Either they want to do too much in a short amount of time, or there's no connection to what's going on. It's all over the place and it just doesn't work. I really do enjoy how much this one does work because it does carry elements from the other movies, but you know what, for someone to be oh, this just copying all the other movies, what movie hasn't copied one other movie or is inspired by? Come on, it's a horror film. Get over it. It's not going to be the most original fucking idea.
And to be fair, this one does have, for a slasher movie like that. It has a pretty good cast. I mean, they're all pretty decent actors.
Yeah, and and the ending makes the movie because it's very rare. Spoiler alert for there to be an ending like that one. I mean, I'm not gonna spoil it until we get to the end of the podcast, but yeah, to have that ending, you're like, oh shit, you know. Maybe it was predictable to some people when they were watching it, but I didn't care. I didn't care if it was predictable. I wanted to see where it was going, and I was like, I went there. Yes, yes, I like it. Now, that has some connection to what I wanted to talk about next, which is why the killer always has a nosebleed. And to expand more upon that, I'm going to say that every time that the killer had a nosebleed, I thought of Will Forte's character Randy from How I Met Your Mother. It was like, did he get a boner and he got the nosebleed?
Yeah.
He was turned on by the murders? Like, what's going on?
I just assume, like, when they show him as a kid, he gets the nosebleed when the other kids start picking on him at the Valentine's Day dance. And I just kind of assumed it was like a stress-related thing for him, that when he got stressed out or upset, nervous, angry, any of that kind of stuff, any kind of strong emotion, he got the nosebleed.
Yeah, that sucks.
And that's the only thing that bothered me in the movie, that was the part where there's a part where he goes to attack the one character, and he has, when they show the mask, there's blood that has run down from the nose and onto the mask. And then there's a scene just a little bit later where they show a close-up of the mask and it's clean and you see the blood running down it. So it was from another take that they had used. And I was like, that was the only thing that kind of bugged me in the movie. It was like, no one noticed that?
Yeah, I know you really despise continuity or errors in films. That really, like, grind your gears.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
So, yeah, he's going and having a nosebleed every time he kills people. And the kills are, later on, you know, you, like, realize, as we were doing some research on the film, that all the kills are actually geared toward the responses that the younger versions of the characters in the beginning of the movie gave Jeremy Milton. So that's how they died. So one of them, he says...
she said, I'd rather be boiled alive.
Yeah,
and
that's Denise Richards. She gets boiled alive. In the jacuzzi, where he traps her, you know, with the cover of the jacuzzi, and she's a lobster. She's a real live lobster. Yeah. Like, she gets dunzoed. The other one was Ew, you know, like, she was so disgusted by him, and she doesn't get murdered that way though, but she receives the box of chocolates that have maggots.
Yeah, and then she does get kind of thrown in the trash.
Yeah, that's true. She does get thrown, so that is nasty.
Yeah.
And then the other one, the main girl, that rejected him, well, because they made out, and then when the, you know, little kid boys like see them and under the bleachers making out, she like is like, oh, you know, like hashtag me too, like, oh, you know, he's forcing me to do this, and she pushes him away because she was like the chunky girl in the group. She pushes him away, so she actually dies. She says like, over my dead body, or
what was it that she said?
She said, in your dreams, right?
Yeah.
Something like...
No.
Damn, I don't remember. But she gets, he...
Oh, no, she says he attacked me.
Oh, he attacked
me, yeah. That's what it was.
And she gets set up for the murders.
Yeah, and the Katherine Heigl, who was the one that said, in your dreams, and she actually get killed lying down, like in a sleeping position. Oh, yeah.
Well, Catherine, yeah, she does. Yeah, that's totally, yeah. She gets killed in the mortuary. And, you know, her death is actually the most annoying death, because it's like, if you're trapped in a room and there's nothing with body bags, like, I understand why you would... I hate when people, like, run and they go to, like, a room that they should know there's no way to fucking get out. But you went into that room, and you could have had, like, 20 other rooms that you could have, like, gone into that had, like, an exit door. But you chose that one, so now you're fucking stuck. And then she gets in the bag, and she hears him going through, because at first he opens, like, two bags. to see like if she's in there. But then he's like, you know what, fuck it. All these people are already dead, so it doesn't matter if I stab through the back to find out. And then he gets to the last bag and he unzips it, and there she is hiding, and she doesn't even fight. She's like, no, and then he fucking slits her throat. Terrible. That was like the most annoying death out of all of them. But yeah, so that's kind of funny how he like takes them out and like the manner, like how they, you know, refuse to dance with him in the beginning.
Yep.
With the exception of the
main character, Kate, who said, "Not now, maybe later."
Yeah.
So he doesn't go after her like he does the others because she really wasn't mean to him. She just said, "Maybe later." There's a lot of red herrings in the movie too. They kind of try to throw you off with some people. Like they try to get you to believe for a while that might be the guy from the Blind Date at the beginning that talked about himself in third person. Jason doesn't like that.
Yeah, because he has the same initials of JM, which is signed on each of the Valentine Day cards that the ladies receive.
The awesome cards. You know, someone out there has those cards.
Yeah, somebody, or maybe they threw them in the trash. Who knows?
But they also trying to imply that Jessica Capshaw's boyfriend, Campbell, who she doesn't know his last name.
No, because she just literally, I did want to make a point. She like literally just met him like at a yoga class like the day before, like super recent. And then this motherfucker's already, oh, there's something wrong with his apartment, so he has nowhere to stay, so he's like staying with her. And like there's this girl that's like following them throughout the movie. And you think it's like an ex-girlfriend, but it's like a girl that he like burned, like conned money out of. Yeah. So she's like going around like making his life a living hell and trying to like bring light to the fact that he's a con artist. And, you know, no one is having it. Everyone's like, get the hell out of here.
You kind of wonder if it might be her for a little bit too. Like, hey, maybe she's killing off these people because they're involved. They put out a lot of things like that. But now we're getting towards the end of the movie, and I guess it's time to do our little spoilers. So don't listen to this part if you don't want to hear the surprise ending to the movie.
So there's a party that's happening, and this is the killer's chance to like tie up all the loose ends and kill the rest of the ladies he has not been able to kill. So he's taking them out one by one. They're all dying, you know, as you said earlier, in all sorts of manners. And
yeah, he even killed the maid.
Yeah.
I don't know what she did to him, but he killed the maid too. Maybe she just walked in while he was cleaning, he was killing somebody, and was like, "Oh no, you don't have to worry about cleaning this up."
He did not like loose ends. He killed the maid, and he killed the girl stalker that was trying to warn, you know, the character that Campbell was a con artist. So he kills her too. He does not want anyone to live that's seen him.
Yeah, and he also, now they didn't say if he was in the mask or not, but he also took care of the main character, Kate. He took care of her creepy neighbor that was stealing her underwear.
Yeah, he had to go.
Yeah, he ironed out his problems really quickly.
Nice.
Yeah, if you watch the movie, you'll get that.
So yeah, he's out. So there we are, like, you know, last scene in the movie. Here goes, you know,
Kate is convinced that David Boreanaz is Jeremy Melton.
Yeah. And
she found a little note that she had left to him on a dead body. She's convinced it's him. She's running from him. He's chasing her. He's not really like screaming, yelling, acting kind of crazy. He's more just acting like a boyfriend that's confused about what's going on, a little angry, but not really overly menacing, I thought. Just kind of more like upset. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, very creepy. Like you're like, I don't know. He's acting kind of weird.
He's acting kind of creepy, but he's also had a few drinks at the party, so he might just be a little out of it and being a little weird. And she did knee him in the balls and then hit him upside the head with a bottle of champagne.
Yeah.
So that tends to make someone a little grumpy.
We forgot to mention that throughout the film, he's like a recovering like drunk, like, and you know, at this party, he's been sober the whole movie. Like, he's trying to get his life together and trying to win her back. And that's why she's been super hesitant about them getting together, because she doesn't want to get hurt. And then she finds him at the party, like, drinking alcohol out of a cup. And she's like, oh no, it's over, fucker. So she's not really trusting right now. Her trust is at a zero. and finding this like note that she had left him earlier, you know, above the decapitating, you know, head that was floating in the water did not make anything better for the situation.
Yeah. So she's running, trying to get away from him, when suddenly the Cupid mask killer appears, falls it, and kind of like falls forward, grabs a hold of her, and they tumble down the stairs. As they're tumbling down the stairs, when they hit the bottom, Kate starts to get up, so does the killer, and that's when Adam.
Big spoiler alert, there's spoiler, we just let you know that they're one and the same person.
Adam steps around the corner and shoots Dorothy, who had been faked out the attack. And as we see in the end, the killer all along was David Boreanaz. He really was Jeremy Melton. And he got them all in the manner in which they rejected him with the dance, because she had faked an attack. So he set it up to make everyone believe that she was the attacker, the one that she had killed everyone in the movie.
Yep. And she gets it real good. She like popped up like Michael Myers, and he fucking shot her like so many times in the chest. I was like, okay, like unless 50 Cent's underneath there, like this bitch is not coming back.
Yeah,
up.
he put a whole clip in her.
Yeah, she was dead. And, you know, the reveal is like, when you see this, you're like, oh my god, it was her all along. Totally makes sense, because she's been acting weird throughout the whole fucking movie, too. And, you know, it's just like, oh, she's the one that, like, faked the thing. Maybe she lost her mind, you know.
Well, she had kind of mentioned that the other characters were all, that she was, you know, they treated her badly because she had been overweight, and they had treated her like, oh, you're just our fat friend and all that. So it was believable that she could have done it just for
the revenge
on that they had treated her badly for all those years.
Yeah, mind you, it's like, it's been a really long time. Get over it. Like, we didn't have breasts when this happened, and now we do have breasts, so it's been a bit of time.
Denise Richards has like enough for two.
That's true. So David Boreanaz being the killer. Now there is a small discrepancy on that does bother me. Earlier in the film, when the detective is going through the list, like all detectives do, of like all the people that are close to you, someone has to be doing this that you know. Because the J.M. Milton, like Jeremy Milton, could be anyone. We haven't seen him since a fucking school dance, because he that moved to like another like behavioral school and then like a psych ward.
Yeah.
So it's been about a minute since we've seen him, and he could be Campbell, or he can be Adam, or he could be, you know, any of these guys. So she, Kate, like says, no, I met his mother and father. They do these things for a living.
Well, no, she
like,
didn't say she met him. She just said his mother's a teacher, his father's a lawyer.
That's true.
She didn't actually say she met him. She just assumed that they were there from what he had told her.
Well, then everything that she said was just hearsay. Like, oh, this is all this stuff that he, like, fed me, and none of it was true, and she just took it for his word, because the monologue that she gives is very fucking, like, believable.
Yeah, it sounds like she knows what she's talking about. She really doesn't know.
Huh, okay. That was the one thing, like, I took it for, like, that's exactly what happened. Like, okay, but she fucking lied.
The final shot of the film is David Boreanaz, Jeremy/Adam, holding Kate, comforting her after all this has happened, and then you see the drop of blood on her face and realize he has the nosebleed.
Yep.
Just like he's had through the whole thing.
Yep, he got a boner because they said they loved each other on Valentine's Day, and now he has a boner, and now he's bleeding all over her.
Yeah, that was a great final shot with him with the nosebleed, just sitting there kind of staring off into the distance with a little bit of crazy look in his eyes.
It was. It kind of disturbed me how Kay did not move an inch once she felt the blood on her cheek. She does not make any movements whatsoever. She's just lovingly against his chest like, I survived this shit.
She thought he was just crying, and it was like, he's so upset he's crying. He's a sensitive guy.
Oh, that's actually very true. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, he was crying. Blood tears. He's fucking Mary Magdalene.
Yeah. Well, she didn't necessarily look and see. She just felt the stuff on there and really thought it was just water.
Yeah, later on when you're like, oh shit, why do I have blood on my face? That's going to be a discussion. But
oh shit, hopefully he can talk his way out of that one.
Maybe. Or he can be like, you know what, babe, I'm so sorry I got a nosebleed. Like, I get them from time to time.
Yeah, also believable.
Yeah, so he gets away with it. He changed his identity. He fucking did some push-ups and sit-ups. You know, he fixed his hair. He got better clothes. He got rid of the glasses.
He got better teeth.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that he did to... I feel like this was, like, a very dedicated killer. Like he was
Yeah.
like, you know what? I'm gonna spend the next like 15 plus years of my life getting like a whole new persona slash getting into one of these this girl specifically, the one that did not turn me down her life, make her fall in love with me, and we're gonna live like happily ever after I kill all of her friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, I mean, fuck, man. I've never seen anyone that dedicated besides, like, well, I guess Freddie and Michael are pretty fucking dedicated.
Yeah.
Like, Freddie's like, you know what? I'm gonna kill your children's children. Like, I'm
We'll go
out.
down the line. But yeah. Yeah, this is another one of those movies I think, it just didn't get a fair shake at the time, but now I think people are starting to discover it because they're starting to look back on some of these movies and go, hey, this actually looks pretty good. I know Scream Factory just put out a brand new edition of it.
Yeah, with some awesome cover art, I have to say.
Yeah. It's so strange now that you think about like this cover art that they like for these DVDs from 20 years ago that they just can't use it now because they have to go get Denise Richards' approval. They have to get Katherine Heigl's approval. They have to get all these people's approval to put out, and that's why a lot of their titles, the original art is on the inside of it.
Yeah.
Where it's not really seen.
And Katherine Heigl's not giving anyone's fucking approval. She regrets being in this movie. She was like, if I knew this was what the final cut was going to be, I would have not been in this movie at all. And it's like, relax. First of all, don't pull fucking Emma Watson. You wouldn't even have been Katherine Heigl, who you are today, if it wasn't for fucking Little Roswell show. Like, what, like, who do you think you are? Like, how dare you, ma'am? How dare you? You're, like, too good to have been in a horror movie. Jamie Lee Curtis was in a fucking horror movie, started her career. Look at what she's done. You haven't done anything close to Jamie Lee Curtis. So, chill your shit.
Well, she did the same thing about the, Knocked Up. Said she regretted doing that movie, too.
Oh my god. Who does she think she is? Fucking Judi Dench? Like, give me a fucking break. Like, put your seatbelt on. It's, like, relax. No one even gives a fuck about you anymore, Katherine Heigl. Like, go sit down. Like, that's it. Your career's over. Okay, that was my rant on Katherine Heigl. I hate actors that are like, oh, I regret doing this. And it's just like, what are you talking about? You got paid and you are doing something. Like, you know how many actors would have wished to have gotten that role? Like, that are still probably eating macaroni now to this fucking day that haven't even made it, been living in Hollywood for like fucking 30 years. Like, give me a break. So yeah, it just
seems ungrateful.
It just seems really ungrateful, and it really makes me mad. But Valentine's, jump scares, we didn't really count jump scares in this one since it's like 2001. It's not riddled in like insane jump scares every 5 seconds. I'm gonna say total jump scares in the movie, there was probably like 3.
Yeah, 3 or 4. I would say that'd be about right.
Yeah, and knives. How many knives, stabs do we get this? Do we give this film? I'm gonna give it 2.5 knives.
I'd say 3 myself. I like it.
Yeah. It's not that I didn't like it. It's just, I don't know. It's a movie of its time. It's dated. I mean, I guess, you know what? I'm an asshole. I can't say that because, I mean, the films that I love the most are obviously fucking dated because they're from the 70s. I kind of
feel like if they didn't have their cell phones in this, if you took the cell phones out, if you gave everybody a smartphone, it could be happening right now.
Yeah, that's true. I recant. I'm gonna give it 3 knives. It's gonna get 3 knives from me.
All right. Well, that was our thoughts on Valentine. We'll be back next week with one more Twisted Love.
Our last Twisted Love pick. What's it gonna be? Please leave us a review, like us, subscribe, do whatever you need to do so you can hear us every Monday when we put out our episode.
That's right.
We would love to hear what you have to say because for us, if we're like talking into thin air. We don't know, do you like us? Like, what's going on? I have fun doing it. It's definitely a stress reliever, and something I love discussing film and horror films, to be exact. And, Shad and I we talk so much about it and running the Orlando Horror Society too. I mean, our whole lives are just encased in horror.
So please feel free to drop us a comment on the iTunes page, drop us a comment on Podbean. We'll post links to everything in the episode description, and we hope to hear you next week.
Oh yeah, we're on YouTube now. So if you don't have Podbean or iTunes, please go on YouTube. Maybe one day we'll be live where you actually be able to see us. But for now, it's just, like a black
That's
screen,
right.
but you can hear us, and we're trying to be more accessible. So yes,
This
YouTube.
episode will be on YouTube. We'll also post the links there. All right. See you guys soon.
Stay tuned to the horror.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.